Hey 678ers, welcome back to the second and final week of this Christmas series. It's kind of crazy to actually think that we are halfway through this small group year. This has definitely been, I think, the craziest small group season we have ever had. We've had groups meet in host homes, meet online. We all got together at least one time in the fall, and as crazy as everything was, it was awesome. And I am so excited for the things that we are planning for this next semester after Christmas break. Some new stuff, some exciting stuff, some things that we have never done before. So good job staying connected through this whole first half of the year, and make sure to connect when we come back from Christmas break to see all of the great things and fun things that we have planned. Now, if you were here last week, then you know we talked about Christmas, and we specifically talked about why Christmas had to happen. We said when God made the world, it was good, it was perfect, and people were able to connect with God. And then sin entered the world, and sin separates us from God. And so, since it was man's sin that separated us from God, Jesus had to come as a man to be our sacrifice. And that started with Christmas. Now, before we get into what we're going to talk about today, I want to ask you a question. Do you have a friend that you're only friends with because they have like a super awesome house, or they have a trampoline, or they have video games that you're actually not allowed to play at your house? I had a friend like that when I was growing up. Her name was Courtney. Let me tell you about Courtney. There were two things that she had going for her that kind of no one else in our neighborhood had. One, she had a trampoline. My dad refused to let me get a trampoline for the longest time. In fact, she was the only person in our entire neighborhood that had one. The second thing that she had going for her, her dad worked for Pepsi. Now here's what that meant. He got like special cases of like brand new Mountain Dews before they hit the stores. In fact, me and my friends tried the orange Mountain Dew, I think it's called Livewire, before anybody else. And so Courtney's dad actually had a pop fridge in his garage that was always stacked with free, brand new Mountain Dews. So here's what's true. I spent a lot of time at Courtney's house. In fact, me and a lot of my friends spent time at Courtney's house. We would jump on the trampoline. When we wanted to break, we'd go in her garage and we'd drink some Mountain Dew and we'd go back to the trampoline. And we did that for like an entire summer. And then something happened. Courtney's mom got pregnant. So then, by next summer, they had a little baby. And so they took down the trampoline so they could build a little playhouse and a little sandbox. And by that next summer, her dad got a promotion at Pepsi. He was no longer part of this like product testing groups of people. He was like a manager, which meant no more free Mountain Dews. And do you want to know something sad? Me and a lot of other of Courtney's friends stopped hanging out with Courtney. The truth was, we weren't really hanging out with Courtney because we wanted to be good friends with Courtney. We wanted to jump on the trampoline and we wanted to drink the free Mountain Dew. Now, I know you're thinking, that's terrible and that's mean, and you're probably like, Rothan, you're a jerk. How could you do that to someone? And I know, and I'm not proud of it, and if I could go back and change that, I would. But I think we all kind of do this a lot. A lot of times when we look at the relationships around us, the question that we're actually asking ourselves is, what can I get out of it? We hang out at this person's house because they have a hot tub. We like to spend time with this person, yeah, because they have the games that we're not allowed to play at our house, because their parents let us do whatever we want to do. And to be honest, I don't think this just affects the relationships of the people in our school or our friendships on our teams or anything like that. I think this affects our relationship with God too. See, I think when Christmas comes around, we get pumped at this idea of Jesus. We're reminded of what God has done for us, the gift that we have in Jesus, the fact that we don't have to stay separated from God forever, but that we get to be in heaven with Him. And we get pumped and we get all about Jesus, and then Christmas is over. And here's what I know is true for some of us. We stop thinking about Jesus, and I think it's because, if we're honest, we don't feel like there's really anything in it for us anymore. In fact, I think it's actually really easy to, after Christmas, just kind of go on with our lives and sometimes come to church and sometimes go to small group and maybe go to a camp. And in those moments, we're reminded, yeah, Jesus is awesome. He's done some great things for us. We should connect to him. And we still don't. Man, and we go year after year after year, just kind of going through that cycle. And maybe you've done that a few years now, and you're like, man, I just wish that my faith felt strong. I just wish that my connection with Jesus felt real. And maybe you feel like, man, I feel like my connection with Jesus is inconsistent, it's wobbly, it could break down at any moment. You know, I think it's interesting. The Bible actually talks about this. See, guys, you have to remember, man, God, he created us. He knows our hearts. He knows our minds. When we read the Bible, and these are God's words for us. He knows what we need to hear. So we're going to look at this passage in the book of Matthew. Now, remember, Matthew is one of the first 4 books of the New Testament. They're called the Gospels. It's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. All 4 of those books kind of give us a different perspective on Jesus's life. Mostly kind of the 3 years that Jesus was going around from town to town and telling people about God and about himself. And I think Jesus knew that as people interacted with him, that they'd have a few different responses. Actually, it's the same responses that we today have when we hear things about Jesus. And so Jesus said this in the book of Matthew. It's Matthew chapter 7. We're going to start reading in verse 24. It says this: "Anyone who listens to my teaching and follows it is wise, like a person who builds a house on solid rock. Though the rain comes in torrents, and the floodwaters rise, and the winds beat against that house, it won't collapse because it is built on bedrock. But anyone who hears my teaching and doesn't obey, it is foolish, like a person who builds a house on sand. When the rains and floods come and the winds beat against that house, it will collapse with a mighty crash." So listen to this. Jesus kind of lays out 2 different people. Both people hear about Jesus, maybe even connect to what he says, and then listen. He says one person stays connected. That person not only listens to Jesus, but obeys Jesus, builds their life around being close to Jesus, and the person that does that has a firm and a strong relationship with God. And there's some other people that they hear Jesus, they interact with Jesus, and they really don't do anything at all. They don't stay really connected, they don't stay really committed, they don't do the things that they know Jesus wants them to do, and they build this really shaky, flimsy, weak house. And then, listen, Jesus said, and then storms come. Now, when Jesus is talking about storms, I don't think he's actually talking about like tornadoes or thunderstorms or blizzards or anything like that. No, I think what he's saying is, and then life's going to get really difficult. And he said, and listen, for the people that are really connected to me, the people who really have a strong relationship with me, for the people that know what I've told them to do and actually do it, they stay strong. Their faith in me actually grows and gets stronger. Man, they have confidence in their relationship. And then those other people, man, life gets difficult. And then they say, man, what's in this for me? It isn't happening how I thought it was going to happen. I thought life was going to be easy. I thought I was going to get all of these perks. I'm done. Some people do to Jesus, man, what I did with Courtney. When we heard that Jesus loves us and wants a relationship with us and provided a way for us to be saved, we're like, I am in. And then when it meant actually spending time with him, obeying him, choosing to do the things that he wants us to do and to not do the things that he doesn't want us to do, we end up not doing it. We say, man, we are all about Christmas, Jesus. But I'm not about this everyday spending time being obedient, putting Him first. I'm not about that. And listen, this might be tough to hear, but if that's you, you've got a real flimsy house and it's built on the wrong stuff, because you're building your house on what Jesus can do for you. And you have got to build your house, listen to me, on what Jesus can do through you, which might mean doing some things that you wouldn't normally do, like reading your Bible and spending time with God. Or it might mean having to be obedient in not doing the things that you want to do or that all your friends are doing, like telling those types of jokes, or using social media in an inappropriate way, or being rude to people at school. Christmas is a great reminder of the incredible things that Jesus has done for us. But Christmas shouldn't be the only time of year that you really connect with God or think about God. So I want you to think about this question. What is your foundation built on in your relationship with God? Do you feel like it's built on what God can do for you? Do you feel like it's really built in a relationship that you have with Jesus, a relationship where you spend time with Him? Or if you're honest, do you even feel like you have a relationship with God at all? I want you guys to think about that. And I want you to have conversations in your groups about that. And ultimately, and I would love for all of us to have strong and healthy relationships with God, because rough times are going to come this year. There will be storms, and your ability to get through those and have hope inside of whatever darkness those things could bring will be built on how strong your foundation is in Jesus. So go to your groups, have conversations about this, and then remember, come back in January and see all of the fun and new and exciting things that we're going to do this year. See you guys, and Merry Christmas.